Shona, flipping it over a bit onto having your team not just work on, your your company social media presence, but do you have any control over their personal profiles and the expectations of what they post on there? Because for some businesses, I mean, we teach that people buy you first. So if you're posting, if your sales team is posting not so pleasant stuff on Facebook and how drunk they got on the weekend and all that sort of stuff, then that can be a real issue. Do you have any ideas on how to manage that? Is there a way to manage it?
Look, it needs to be in the employment contract from the get-go. Now, and if it's not in their employment contracts, it needs to be an addition that people need to sign in now. So the company's got to have a set policy. While you can't control what people are posting on their pages, you can, as a business, educate them to know what's okay and what's not okay. And I've spoken to Shane about this a couple of times. I've hired and fired based on what I've seen happening on social media of people.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, that's the reality. People, just like people are going to Google your organisation to see if they want to work with you, because people are now picking whether or not you're cool enough for them to work with. It's not like the old days where I need a job, so therefore I'll take that because it fits. It's like, I need a job. Okay, well, let me see who's cool. Let me see who's going to fit in my values, and let me see whether or not I want to work there. It's no longer the other way around.
So it's really up to the individual to understand that, basically. Is that what you're saying? I mean, it's the business needs to set their expectation, but then the individual needs to understand that as well.
Yeah, and this can come from a whole bunch of in-house training. So I know with any of my previous teams before I had Social Phase, is we often had a full day around social media and online footprints and online reputations and what it means and how to manage it. Because, we know that people are only going to work with us from, on average, say 1 to 3 years now. So we want to make sure that anyone who's coming to work for me in any of the organisations I've worked in, I see it as my job to educate them so they're going to leave being a better person and have themselves set up for success. So for me, that was just
and that's even bigger than just social media, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just looking after you guys, right? If you've got a good team, you want them to be the best they can be.
That's exactly right. Now, talking about your team, and when you and I spoke a couple of weeks ago, Shona, we were talking about how the culture in your office can be really used to create your brand on Facebook. Can you delve a little bit deeper into that for us, please?
Yeah, so this is what I was saying about people are now watching online what's happening with your organisation. So they want to see behind the scenes. So it's social media. It's not, go sit on a rock on your own media. It's about being social. So it's about showing them behind the scenes, like how cool you are as an organisation, what you're doing for birthday parties, how you're celebrating big wins in the offices. People don't want to go and get stuck in a cubicle. They want to know that if they're in a cubicle, it's going to be a really freaking fun cubicle. You know what I mean? So in terms of,
can you say that rock thing again, Shona? What is it?
It's not. I can't remember what it was.
It's not go sit on a rock by yourself, social media? Is that what it was?
Yeah, something like that. It's, it's being social. Get out there. People want to see, and like you said before, people buy you. So it's the same. Social's just a window into your organisation. So I know some of the bigger firms that we've worked with are using social media and predominantly Facebook as a recruitment tool. So they're using it to showcase the events they're doing, the fun runs, if they're doing charities, and the whole photos around of their team getting out and having a really good time and not just sitting at their desks.
Exactly.
And if you're going to choose one,
there's no point being boring on there.
Totally not. And people don't want boring. But, we're talking about some of the top 5 accounting firms in the country, and I've worked with 2 of them now. So a traditionally quite dry industry.
Yes.
And one's choosing to post dry and one's choosing to post them running in the city to surf, doing different charity morning teas. Who are you going to pick? When you line them all up and you go, oh, this one's going to talk to me about accounting, like we know that.
I guess
Yes.
I guess what's important there, Shona, is that neither one of those two are necessarily right or wrong, but it's going to appeal to the individual that appeals to that. So if I'm a boring accountant and I don't like fun runs and morning teas, then the second firm is probably going to be more exciting to me.
You're not going to go there. And this is where it's an absolute win for businesses, because you can put yourself out there. You know, Shane will tell you, I'm a bit crazy to work with. I like having fun in the office. I'll do really weird things to mix it up and just shake it on their head. So I've been known to turn around and tell the team, like, all right, yeah, pack your bags, we're going to go and climb the harbour bridge, you know, with no warning whatsoever. So I will do stuff like that. So people who need notice shouldn't work with me.
That's a good ad. Just use that 10-second ad. If you need notice, don't work with me.
Yeah, don't work with me. And you know, the other thing people need to know about us is that we're quirky. You know, our sense of humour is off the wall, and I want people to know that up front. I don't want people to come in and then get offended.
I think that's really interesting. The vibe I'm getting from your message, Shona, is it's about building your tribe.
It totally is, yeah.
And if you think of it as a tribe, like attracts like, so that's what you need to do.
Absolutely, and you know that if you're the core salesperson or the core HR person and you want that energy in your organisation, then that's what has to be projected, not only through you as a person, but across all of your social media channels.
Now, I'm just going to invite everyone to, we haven't had any questions through yet, but actually we've just had one question through. I'll just flip the page just a second for you, Shona. In the news recently, there was an issue where an employer asked for an employee's user details on Facebook. Do you see this being the norm for other sites like LinkedIn and Google+?
Why? I haven't read that article, but why would they need their user details? That would be my question.
Yeah, is that even allowed?
So, well, it depends what's happening. So if that user has set up the company accounts in their name and they've not transitioned it over to a generic account, then yeah, I think that's okay as a business to ask for those details, because obviously they're holding on to company assets that have just, and it's probably a case that they've just been set up incorrectly from the get-go, so there's no ill intended.
Yes.
But without knowing the full story, it's a bit of a hard one to answer.
Yeah, and Facebook's a little bit different to LinkedIn. LinkedIn's really about selling you.
Yeah, LinkedIn's your online resume, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we deal with this with customers all the time, in that the business owner or the marketing or HR team expect their entire organisation to take a post and use it through their personal networks.
Yes.
Now, I don't think that's okay.
Yeah.
So it would be ideal for the business, but at the end of the day, you're still employing individuals, and that is their property to decide what they choose to promote or not to promote on. So it would be cool if they get behind your business 110%, but you really can't force them, you know, to come in and do it. It'd be like turning up at their dinner party with their friends going, oh, hey, got something to sell you. You know, weird.
That's an interesting concept. What are your thoughts, Shane?
Yeah, look, I agree, and I guess as an employer and a recruiter, we certainly look at people's public Facebook profiles to get a bit of an idea of who they are and what they're up to in their private life and how that might affect. But you know, I would hope as an employer and an entrepreneur that I've found people, you know, to use your words, Emma, my tribe, and I've got people joining my tribe who want to be part of my tribe, and they like our culture and they like our message and they like what they do, and they actually feel not a sense of obligation, but a desire to actually share that message with the world, you know, based on what we're doing, not because it's an edict coming down from management.
But that's a sign of attracting a great team, Shane.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got the right people on your team and they are passionate about what you do and how you're doing it, and they're excited to be there, then you don't have to ask them to share it. They're going to do it naturally. Because they're already your biggest advocates. They're already shouting it from the rooftops.
Yeah, and that's certainly our experience in the way that you know, that we've been dealing with social media from a staff perspective, and that's across all channels, even Google Plus since a month or so ago. Emma, thank you.
Hey, Emma, I'd love
Nice
the source
segue.
of that article from the employees if you could send it across, because I'd like to have a little bit more of a look into it.
Well, the person who typed that in, please feel free to find that and flick it across or email it through to Emma at youronlinesalesmanager.com, and I'll get that to Shona. It'd be good to see it.